This is episode 196 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and if you're wondering why we're at 196, and if you feel like you missed a number, I misnumbered at some point, and we're just going to roll with it. I'm joined by Marcel. Don't mind the PvP in the background, Manzano.
And you actually might not hear it a lot because I learned a new word today. It's called gain adjustment. That's 2 words.
It is 2 words, but you'll get there, man. You'll get there. Will, Baron of the Barons, Hagewood.
Ooh, I need to paint up my Wampa all bright and shining red.
And Ryan, I need a snowblower, Staniszewski.
Yeah, like, I shovel, and that's okay. But if I shovel a lot, my back starts to hate me because I'm older now. So I should probably get a snowblower.
You know, for anybody who's not aware, if you're anywhere in the Midwest right now, you're getting blasted with snow. As you can see outside.
Anywhere in the eastern half of the United States.
Right. Lots of snow happening right now. My wife was amazed. Like I've shoveled several times today, and I was gonna try to find a few minutes to go and do some quick shoveling before the podcast. Mrs. GSP was like, "I got you, babe," and I was like, "Oh my God, you're so amazing." But I will be shoveling after the podcast, so you know, a little bit now, a little bit later. We should be good. But you know, having a snowblower doesn't help, Ryan. When it's in the garage, you can't get to it. So that is a I have one. It's in the garage. I got to see if I can make it.
I mean, if the snow's that bad, then I'll figure it out eventually.
That's right. Well, hopefully you guys are ready to have a good time today. I know we are. We got a lot to talk about. One of the things that's exciting, if you were an applicant for the Gold Squadron Paint Cast, you will be receiving notice on the application of your status within the next 48 hours. Okay, so looking forward to that. We got this week. I got so much done for Paint Wars. It's not even funny. So much. Had a meeting about Paint Wars right before this. We are on the precipice of getting that ball rolling. Even though the show won't be released for several months from now, the bulk of the work is going on right now, and I'm hype. So. That's all that. But our podcast episode is brought to you by the Sigma qualifier happening this upcoming weekend. Looking forward to it. If you haven't participated in one of our Flight Club qualifiers, there are 2 left. Get ranked and play in a championship event of your level. Super excited about that. And today we got 2 different things to talk about. We'll start with our most up-to-date stuff and go into our other main topic for today. So I want to talk about, there was an article that dropped today. Fantasy Flight Games, yes, still send Fantasy Flight Games. They're still in control of the IP for now. Dropped an article right here. Reinforcements of renown. They dropped just a bunch of cards, all kinds of stuff there. So I figured we should probably talk about the cards because there are some new stuff that got revealed in here. Let's talk about what is in here, what's not in here, because I also find what's not shown in here very interesting. And then our main topic for today is we're going to talk a little bit about how we think the extended meta that we've had so far is going to affect our hyperspace meta going forward, because our next 2 qualifiers, Sigma and Omega, both hyperspace, and all 3 of our championship events for Flight Club are also hyperspace. So we have a big stretch of big hyperspace events happening here, and we are going to be diving into that. Thank you to Ryan for doing the bulk of the heavy lifting on that research here. But let's let's jump into it. What's in the box? What do you guys think? Should we start with the cards they talk about first? Should we go there? That's probably the easiest place to start with, right?
Yeah, that's the real content, right?
That's right. Okay, so first card that gets revealed right there, Hera Syndulla in an A-Wing. All right, let's talk about that ability. While another friendly ship at range 1 to 2 defends or performs an attack, you may transfer one of your focus tokens, evade tokens, or locks to that ship. Now, this is the same ability as her B-Wing ability, if I'm not mistaken. Gentlemen, is that correct? All right, thank you for the head nod there. Vector thrusters, I-6 A-Wing. I find that very interesting. You got some possibilities there. Can you imagine somebody I-6 rolling around with a procket, just be like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Any other thoughts, gentlemen, on Hera in an A-Wing before we move on to, I think, it would be the card that we're going to spend a little bit more time on?
I mean, I think RZ1 A-Wing Hera is going to be infinitely more used in the B-Wing, I think, just by the sheer fact that this is likely going to be cheaper, which means that support level ability at a higher initiative isn't going to cost as much to invest into. So why not take an A-Wing instead of a B-Wing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Somebody says here, Hera with swarm tactics equals nightmares.
Yeah, I think the addition of easier access to evade. I guess B-Wings get evade through the title. So that's red, and Hera can do it for white. That it's hard to imagine, but just like everybody in your squad then has an evade token when she's just flying around with them. That's mind-boggling to me. Just the first blank die, you can spend that evade on it.
Also, remember she gets if it stays the way that they have been, she'll have 2 elite pilot talents. So she'll have Predator available. She'll have other tools available. Lone Wolf. Actually, Lone Wolf probably doesn't make sense because of the ability, but other ones that make sense. Also, I'm liking threat tracers on her as well. Because if after somebody spends a lock, if they need that lock, you just give it to them anyway. There's just different things you can do with her, and like Ryan said, A-Wing on this on an A-Wing, this ability on an A-Wing is much better than this ability on a B-Wing, because this one can be, if costed correctly, can be a really cool support tool.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's get to the one that we were pretty sure was coming, but now it's got a name and a face. And this is the Vectored Cannons, parentheses, RZ1. Marcel, put your thumbs down away, because I think you are undervaluing this card to the maximum. I think you are undervaluing this card. See, here's the thing, though. Okay, let's read it first, because our audio listeners, they're gonna have a treat right now, because I think we're about to argue, which that's everybody's favorite thing about the podcast. Let's be completely honest. All right, Vectored Cannons says, gain a turret indicator. Treat your arc requirement of your front primary arc attack as turret. So you're replacing your front arc with a turret, all right? And you replace your vector thrusters ship ability with the following. So before we give you the next ability, let's go back and review vector thrusters. So vector thrusters was, after you perform an action, you may perform a red boost action. Other side, vectored cannons. During the system phase, you may perform a red boost action, red boost or rotate action. You can rotate your turret indicator only to the front and the back. All right, so you're replacing vectored thrusters with vectored cannons. Now, Marcel, I will let you approach the stand first with why you don't like it, and then I will tell you why you're wrong.
All right. Well, you're going to tell me why you think I'm wrong, but the world knows I am correct. So even before we start. So what I don't like about it is it basically turns it does something like it tries to turn the Rebel A-Wing into a Resistance A-Wing, because now you have a front and back arc rotate, so you get a rotating arc to shoot to the front and back. You lose the ability to boost during your activation, to focus boost, target lock boost, barrel roll boost, or whatever it is that you do. So you lose the linked boost action, and in return you gain the ability to, during the system phase, you can take the red boost or the red reposition of the mobile arc. What I don't like about it is that it makes you make those choices of boosting or declaring where your arc is going to be at the start of the system or during the system phase. So essentially, basically, there's no way for you to rotate your arc, or as far as I can tell, it doesn't say add the rotate arc. If it adds the rotate arc, does it? Actually, let's ask that first.
It does. It
doesn't seem.
No, you don't have a rotate action.
So once you move, especially on someone like Hera, you're kind of stuck. You can't reposition, especially if you boosted already. You can't boost again. All you can basically do is move and take one action, which is typically going to be, I assume, a focus or an evade. So essentially, you're turning these things into a. They're kind of like the V whatevers in the
V-wings.
Yeah, a little bit in that they don't really have a really good. Actually, even those can reposition, can have a link action. I just think they're going to suffer from not having a link action. One of the things that might help them is that you can keep the arc back, and if you have something like like tracer missiles or something like that you can keep those pointed forward. You can have something shooting to the front and then something shooting to the back with tracer missiles, something like that. So you get some benefit that way. But again, you can only move and focus in your stationary target. You can't really link and reposition during activation, which I think is really going to hurt these things. It may be good if, I'm trying to see when boosting is beneficial during system phase instead of during your own maneuver. And I don't see it.
Have you seen the ADAs? Like, I mean, they were doing just fine with system phase repositioning.
Yeah, but the ADAs are a couple things. One of them is that they're all walking around with force, so they can reposition during their actual activation and still have a mod. And
they use their mod to reposition, so not really. They use their mod to reposition, so not really.
Yeah, but
portion of their mod to reposition.
A portion of their mod to reposition, and on top of that, they still can do. They have more tools. They do have more tools. They've got the EPT, they got the force slots, and they're usually walking around with 2 or 3 force. We've seen Ahsoka. We don't know what Ahsoka's going to do or how much force she's going to have. So maybe she would be kind of for this. But again, this is a standardized. Standardized configuration, which means if you use it on one, you have to use it on everyone that can equip it. So again, I'm not saying it's going to be completely garbage. I'm just saying I'm disappointed because when you compare this to what the Resistance A-Wings have, it's no comparison because the Resistance A-Wings can move, take an action, rotate, boost, rotate, barrel roll, boost. I mean, they've got just so many other tools that are leagues apart. So this thing has to be much cheaper than where the Resistance A-Wings are.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take a little bit of this before you take it.
Yeah. No, here's the cake. Take it, Ryan.
All right. RZ1s are RZ1s for a reason. They're the predecessor to the RZ2. Thematically, these being worse actually makes sense. And this card is, I'm going to say this as almost as a negative, but it's a realistic take. It's unfortunately very fair in that it's going to require you, just like the ADAs, to make your decisions before you have board knowledge, like you would with higher initiative aces such as Hera or Jake, so forth, who could take advantage of those action plus boost type effects of vector thrusters. But not to say this can't still have its advantages. We know that ADAs with their system phase repositioning can be anti-block mechanisms, especially with boosts. Boosting forward changes the distance at which an opponent's trying to think whether or not their block attempt might actually get blocked by a boost forward of either direction or straight. And doing these rotates or red boosts beforehand could not only change how your ship moves, but ends up with you after doing your maneuver without a stress. You are now a more freely dialing ship, still getting the same action economy, but you just need to choose those repositions and arc turns in the system phase instead of with board knowledge at your initiative. But you have a more open dial at the end of it if you've dialed in, say, a blue maneuver, likely after using the vectored cannon's ability.
The other piece of this that I wanted to take was, okay, Ryan, you're correct. It is definitely more fair. But my argument is, everybody in the chat, not everybody, but there's so many people like, oh, but Jake and Arvel, they don't like this. This card isn't for Jake and Arvel. That's the way I look at it. It's not for them. If you want to play Jake and Arvel, don't take vectored cannons. You don't take it. It's for the other A-Wings we're going to get. Because when do you see Blue Squadron A-Wing, or not Blue Squadron, what are they? Phoenix Squadron A-Wings? You don't. When do you see Greens? You don't. Okay, this gives them possibly a chance to play, and that is that, Hera, she is Initiative 6. I know that you're not using her in the traditional sense of how you would think of, an ace, right, where you can boost and barrel roll after. I think it's a little bit different. But if you're playing versus, this vectored thrusters can get you out of possible blocks. Not vectored cannons. Being able to have that boost afterward, before your maneuver, makes you less predictable in a different way. It just gives you a little bit of a different tools. The second part is, Marcel, I think you were right. You kind of gave yourself a counter argument. Is you're right. You can equip a missile in the front, and then you got the turret in the back. You got two different places you can shoot from. I think that we can't get too hung up on what we've lost. We got to look at what is there. Now, I do 100% agree with you. It's going to be dependent on the cost. 100%, because if these are, if it's too expensive, they're not going to have value. But I think where we might find some shenanigans is in the pilots, because in the article they say, Will, have you seen this? Have you seen how many A-Wing cards they said we're going to get in here?
How many did they say?
10. 10 RZ-1 A-Wing ship cards. 10. Now, they're not saying that we're getting 10 ones that we've never had. So I wanted to pull out the notepad here, all right? So we know we have already that exists. We know that Hera exists, Jake, Arvel, there's the Phoenix, there's the Green, all right? We're pretty sure we're getting an Ahsoka, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? ASOAK?
Yeah, a bit spoiled from some other article description line, I think, yeah.
Right. We've seen a Sabine base plate. We've seen a Wedge base plate.
Yep.
All right.
Wedge Sabine.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We still, and this is I included the reprints in there. Jake and Arvel are in there, and the Greens. There's still two mysteries.
I'm still calling Hobby Clivian. Derek
Okay.
Hobby Clivian. He came along with Wedge.
All right, like there's still some possibility for pilots that might go in there. Is there also a blue? Is there also a blue?
No. There's 2 A-Wings in the pack, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got to double the generics then.
Okay, I guess ship cards. Okay, cool.
I mean, if they're going technically, I guess there would be 2 Phoenix and 2 Greens.
Yeah. But there's also no guarantee that we get both Jake and Arvel again.
This
Yeah, I would
is
say
true.
That's where Jake and Arvel are. Though I would say that those Jake and Arvel's definitely not in there. It's just 2 Phoenix and 2 greens, but that still leaves extras though.
Yeah, like there's some potential there for other shenanigans with this ability. And who knows? Like I'm excited to see where these go. And with the ability not being the same as the RZ2 A-Wing, the way I look at it is, in general, meta-wise, the RZ1 A-Wing, outside of Jake, has not seen play. So it just being different might give it a chance. It might.
I mean, especially with something
chance.
like Starboard Slash, right? Most people didn't consider Starboard Slash on RZ1s because they didn't have a back arc. Never bothered. They were like, well, I may as well just play RZ2s. Hasn't seen a lot of play, but maybe in combination, we'll see. And on top of that, so, I mean, people say the vectored cannons isn't, I mean, still probably more worth keeping vectored thrusters on Jake, but doing a red boost to the system phase mean you get a system phase focus for one of your friends. That means Jake can now help out ships at a lower initiative than him that do a 4K or a Talon roll like X-Wings, normally when I would only pair Jake with higher initiative ships with him in most cases. And also remember, this vectored cannons is standardized, so I would assume they take into account that if you have more A-Wings in your list, the cost is going to increase with each A-Wing because you need to take this card on every A-Wing you have in your Rebel list for RZ1s.
Now, some other fam in the chat talking about maybe we get a Hera Bay in an A-Wing, because we know that Hera did fly an A-Wing canonically, and she's not in X-Wing 2nd Edition again, right? She used to be in an ARC 170, and they removed her from the game.
Well, she's still in ARC 170.
Is she? Am I spelling her name wrong? Is it A? Is it
Shara?
Shara? Is that why I'm not getting it in my
Yeah, I
search?
thought
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so Shara Bay, maybe an Ezra. I don't know, man. There's a lot of possibilities there. So I mean, but Marcel, I'm just fighting with you because it's fun. Okay, I'm fighting with you because it's fun. But I think
It's the
I
cool
think there's
thing to do. It's what cool kids do.
That's right. That's exactly. It's what cool kids do. But I think there's some real possibilities here, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's garbage. That's why I said I said I don't think it's garbage. I just it's definitely not RZ2. That's a given. And auto thrusters, in most scenarios, I think will win out. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be some specific, there's going to be some situations where this makes more sense.
Yeah,
that will happen. Especially we don't know what the pilot abilities are for some of the other ships that are coming out. Maybe they'll play off of this. I think Wedge, for example, probably not wanting to reposition a lot, and his 2 dice out of the rear makes more damage than other people's 2 dice because of the wedge ability. But if it's still the wedge ability, we don't even know if the wedge ability is still the same ability, or do we? We're just guessing, right?
We're just guessing.
Everybody else changed their abilities when they became an A-Wing.
Hera got a different ability. Whether or not they believe Sabine's ability is too powerful on an A-Wing, I could see that potential even at I3. But she could have a different ability, so it's all guesstimating at this point.
I think if Sabine's ability is the same, I think she goes to the top of the list of slapping vectored cannons on and seeing what you can figure out there. I like that.
I don't think that
no.
You have to system phase a stressed action, then she couldn't do her ability.
Yeah.
I mean, but what if you already have your cannon in the back?
Oh, well, I mean, sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You got possibilities there. Think beyond the first layer. It's like an onion. Sorry, I watched Shrek yesterday. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. Will's just shaking his head at me. Alrighty. So vector cannons, real interesting, being able to have it out the back. And standardized. I did want to hit that one more time. Remember, standardized is required. It is a standardized upgrade, and per the rules, that means that every additional chassis that is the same, every other RZ1 A-Wing in the squad has to take this. No choices. It is there. All right. Let's move on to the next card, which a lot of people got really excited about, but then they realized something else. What do we got here, Will?
Well, this is a new B-Wing upgrade. I gotta double check my slots here.
So that is the command slot.
There you go. Thank you. Command is that diamond-shaped thing you're going to see there. And it's a title as well. The B6 Blade Wing Prototype. This card, get strapped in. It's a 3 dice, range 2 to 4 secondary weapon, which does range bonuses there. The gunner slot says attack, target lock. Gain 1 ion token to perform this attack. If this attack hits, the defender suffers 1 additional hit or crit for each matching uncancelled result after the first. So if you put in hit crit, that's hit and then 2 crits for the second damage. You might notice that it's range 4, which is why it's been restricted into the command slot, which is currently epic only.
That's right. So right here, if you go into the epic rules, this is where you find this symbol at all, which is the first clue that, but then also if you go into the article, we go right up, wrong, a little too far. Where is it at? It does mention that while this upgrade is intended for epic play, the expansion also includes a version of the title designed for standard play. We will show off along with much more in a future preview. FFG, the constant tease. Now, it is interesting that they did have 2 of them. I think they were looking for that, like, they wanted the TV version of Rebels. Like, all right, we need to have this just like B-Wing that's just like, just being ridiculous out there, and then they'll bring a more standard play level one. Now, Will, I'll give you the design space here. Okay, you play game designer.
Sure.
What would you guess is the standard version of this?
I mean, it just says 2 to 3. Right? Like it just
Will's like, okay, watch this.
3.
Done.
Like it doesn't. I mean, all this other things seems normal.
2 to 3 bullseye only. It is a straight beam.
That's pretty restrictive, though.
And it brings down the price. You do gain a gunner slot, which
Actually,
can be pretty powerful by itself.
There is some pretty powerful rebel gunners. I'm just having a hard time really imagining how much damage this thing's gonna actually do. So it only shoots 3 dice, and if you only put 1 in, it only does a single damage. But it would do 5 damage if you put all 3 damage. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is a lot. There's 1 more than a proton torpedo, which might be. I mean, that's just like.
What did you say? One more than a proton torpedo for doing what?
That ends up being 5 damage. Granted, it could be 5 crits, but like, that's just a proton torpedo. I guess this is a cannon they could kind of do every round, though. So that's a little outrageous.
But then B-Wings also just
cannon.
like go and die.
I don't think it's their cannon.
Well, I mean, it's a pseudo cannon, and it's on one ship as well.
It's a secondary weapon, but that doesn't require any charges.
Is it a secondary weapon?
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Mind you, it's in this version.
But it's not a cannon, though.
It's right. It's equipped through the. It's a weapon that's equipped through the title slot. All right. So yeah, it's and also in this verse it does say that you gain 1 ion token to perform the attack. So that does hamper you just a little bit, mind you. Like in Epic, that's not really a bad thing. If you're like chasing an Epic ship, you're just like 1 forward, okay.
I mean,
Like this is fine.
Also,
It's
what if you tone it down so much in the standard version? Say, like if you take the 2 to 3 bullseye only, but instead of gaining an ion token after you perform the attack, or basically some way to old corn give you a disarm for the next turn, right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm really curious to see how they change this and how extreme they go, because I feel with this pack especially that FFG with their swan song, they try to get as thematic as possible. There's a lot of theme in these boxes. And how do you bring it down? I'm sure our Epic fans out there are glad that we even brought it up. All right, but we had to. Will?
All right. Just a quick question. I'm double checking. There's currently no gunner that would even make sense for this thing, right? The only thing that even outside of just having a force token, all the rebel gunners deal with turrets, except for weapons system officer, which would be the go-to, I guess. After you perform a special attack with a target lock requirement. So that's the go-to, right? Is the new weapon system. I mean, just keep slapping more points to it, I guess.
Well, I would guess that in this pack, we probably get the whole Ghost crew as gunners, because we literally see them. We see Sabine, Ezra, Zeb, and Kanan, and Chopper even be gunners, right? I think we get gunners for all of them.
Sabine gunner, remove turret slot, upgrade, add bomb slot.
Yeah, just throwing bombs.
Yeah, but I think if they end up adding gunners that are usable for this, they have to add them and be rebel only, because you get a little dangerous with the gunner slot that ends up being other places. I see you, Shazbot GG, Brandon Procos in the chat being like, how about some generic gunners for our Phantom friends? No, get me off the boat. Oh man. We have Ezra already. Another one that you'll actually use. How about that?
We don't have a Zeb gunner.
This is true. Alrighty. Let's keep going here. Let's hit the Empire. All right. Let's hit the Empire. Volt, Scaris. What do we got here, Ryan?
We have he was known to be I-5 from the ship spread that we saw, but we had no idea what his ability was, and now we do. Action, gain 1 strain to recover a charge, and he has a charge on his ship, but it's a decreasing charge with 1. Before you engage, you may spend a charge to perform an action. So Volt Scaris basically can take a strain to have a better passive sensors. The reason why I say better is because you get to choose whatever action he has, and you could still be coordinated afterward. Now, in Empire, I don't recall, I'm pretty sure there's nothing that can coordinate after I-5 anyway, but his own action could potentially be coordinated, and then he could do a blue maneuver to get rid of the strain. That could be a lot of investment into a singular ability, or, just don't get shot. You don't have to worry about the strain either. But it's an action you get to choose on your engage, which, as we know with passive sensors, is powerful, but there is a consequence to this one, being the strain given. Now, you still have full throttle on the base defender, as we know, so you can still get a type of defensive token. And I know many people who like coordinating their defenders tend to also like putting Mr. Papa Palpatine himself on the Lambda shuttle to also help some passive mods throughout the entire list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I think the value in this one is going to be the boost and the barrel roll. If you look at a situation and you're thinking, okay, I can potentially, I know I'm going to need a boost in the barrel roll before I engage, potentially when it comes to, facing another I6 or an I5 that's moving after I am. And I don't know what direction they're going to go. I think that's when you take the risk and use it. I think it's a cool weapon, but I think it's similar to some of the abilities that we see out there that you don't always bring the pilot for the ability specifically, but when it does get used, it can be powerful. I think it can be very situational.
Yeah, I could see it. It could be a very good closing ability. It's might not something you use early on in a game because you have more threatening ships and arcs potentially shooting at you. But say a Vault Scarus is trying to chase down a higher initiative ship that's doing repositions or double repositions. His ability to just say, all right, you're running in a certain situation, to be like, you're running, I know you're not going to come after me. If you do, it'll be extremely dangerous for you to guess that. So I'm going to take this action to take a strain, and then I'll reposition as I need to get the shot. Now, again, in that situation, you don't have a lot of offensive modification at that point if you need to reposition for it, but at least you have a chance to get a better shot.
Yep. I definitely like it in a pursuing. I mean, anytime you can have flexibility, it's good. Go ahead, Marcel.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to go back to what Ryan said earlier with the coordinating it at Initiative 5 or lower, because that's really where this is going to make this guy really, really dangerous, because at that point you get, whoever it is, you get a coordinating ship out there, maybe a Lambda, coordinate this action, gain a stress, get the charge, then have Vault reveal a blue maneuver, loose the strain, and now you have, you still keep your 3 agility, you have an evade, you have a focus, you take your focus, and then during activation you get to reposition. But then somebody else mentioned in the chat, this is basically one where you make your I5 bid not matter. Like, there's a lot of bidding happening in Initiative 5, and with bidding at Initiative 5, you usually want to move second and shoot second. But in this case, this is a scenario where you want to move first, guarantee your action, let them reposition, but you engage to shoot before they do. So then you can reposition to either get a shot or barrel roll or boost out of a range, whatever. So this is really good against other I5s moving first, and I think it's a really good ship, especially pair it up with a Lambda, or against other I5s, not caring about the bid, moving first, guaranteeing all your stuff, guaranteeing your evade, and then guaranteeing the reposition.
I just thought of this as well. It's more self-contained, but I think, just making sure I'm reading it right. Yeah, you could advance sensors that action and then do a blue. And then because advanced sensors, if you do, you cannot perform another action during your activation. You've passed your activation phase once you're in the engagement phase. So then you can then perform your action during your engagement. So if you want to self-contain it a bit, you'd still end up netting one action, but you get it, and you could lose the strain if you know you're doing a blue.
Yep. There you go. If you're that worried about the strain, the defensive penalty, there it is right there. I like that. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pilot that at first people will stay away, and we're gonna find somebody. Okay, who is gonna find a way to show that this is good, because the majority of arguments I'm seeing out there, I know, Marcel, I agree with you that it is good. I agree, but there are a lot of people who are saying that his ability is trash. All right.
No, I
And
was saying I raised my hand saying that I will try it.
All
But then
right.
when you said that it'll prove it's good, I put my hand down because I don't think I'll try. I don't think this. I don't think I can. People will make it good. I'm not the person to make this type of ship good.
Will, you had a couple more cents?
Yeah. Oh, I think to bounce or to continue on that discussion, I think we'll see a bit later why Vault might want fire control system, but also want a passive sensors like ability combined together. But also, I was trying to think about it, wrap my head around this. He has no. He will start the game with that charge, correct?
No, end phase, member, the arrow's pointed down, so you lose it.
Yeah.
Right, but wouldn't you start with it though?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
every end phase it goes down.
Bro, but
No,
you're
no,
saying
no.
the first turn he will have it.
Yeah.
He doesn't lose it
Oh
until the end of the first turn.
You're talking about like shoot
Yeah, the
forward
very-
and boost.
The very first turn, yeah, he could come up and focus, and then he would have his focus evade, and then he'd have his charge to decide to boost for the shatter knot.
Yeah, if you think you get the jumps on someone, I mean, he's the arrogant ace. If he can get the jump on someone early in the game and catch him out, I mean, someone's got to see it coming though. Like that's, I don't know how.
Play at I5. What can they do about it?
It's. I mean, yeah, I guess.
I don't know. It was just interesting because I was, like I said, thinking that when you mentioned it's like it's not for early game. I was like, well, would it work on the first turn?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you could if you can catch somebody. I think you have to play for it though. Like, I'm like I know that Brian, you said that somebody could expect it. Like, oh, got to watch out. Volt can do this, but having the ability to do something like that gives you, potentially your opponent's like freaked out by it. They might bungle something because they're worried about it. Alrighty. So cool stuff. I think watch out don't sleep on Volk Scaris, guys. Don't sleep on Volk Scaris. Even just for the fact that he's just I5, okay? There you go. Now, let's talk about this right here. The TIE Defender Elite. All right, Marcel, what do we got here?
All right, we got memories of a 1.0 once passed. So it is the TIE Defender Elite. It is a I always forget these names. That's not a modification. It's a
configuration.
Thank you. Configuration slot for the TIE Defender. Decrease the difficulty of your turns maneuvers. Increase the difficulty of your Koigan turn maneuvers. Replace your full throttle ship ability with the following. Full throttle, again, being gaining a free evade at speed 3, completing a speed 3 or higher maneuver. And then the advanced fire controls is after you perform a cannon or missile attack, if you have a lock on the defender, you may perform a bonus primary attack against the defender. It is a standardized TIE Defender configuration, which means if you use it on one, you have to use it on all. And it goes back to 1.0. 0.0 had the X7 or it had the TIE D. And this was the TIE D version of that where you got to shoot twice if you had a target lock.
Shooting twice is awesome. Evade. Shooting twice is awesome, but you're gonna pay. I think you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you're gonna give up your evade, and plus, if you're taking a target lock, that means you have no evade and no focus. So then, now you're becoming a little bit squishy for what's supposed to be a hard to kill ship. But I think the saving grace for me here is definitely the missile slot and the tracer missiles on this, because then you can shoot the tracer missiles, get locks to other friendly ships, including other TIE Defender or another TIE Defender, because I don't think you'll be able to fly 3. And then you'll be able to take your primary shot with a target lock, maybe a focus, and then the other ship can, other ships can do the same thing. So I think tracers give it some play. Outside of that, I don't know how you get the target locks and other actions to make this worthwhile, but I think it could be good. Just hard to, or also with Vessery. Doesn't Vessery get free target locks? I think someone like Vessery might be good as well.
We might actually see
Vessery
see some play, because we don't see the Vessery out there anymore.
Yeah, Vessery with like a tractor and this, or an ion and this. So throwing a tractor and then primary, or throwing an ion and then this. So yeah, I think it's not, it's just like the A-Wing one. I don't think it's garbage. I think that what you give up is a big price, so you have to know what you have to have something in mind to use it. So you're just not going to replace your original ability for this, for the sake of it.
Question. So how does Countess Ryad work with this? When she says, while you would execute a straight maneuver, you may increase the difficulty of the maneuver, which would mean a blue maneuver would become a white maneuver. Would it double down on that, saying when the TIE Defender Elite says increase the difficulty for your K-turn maneuvers?
No, because it's not a K-turn. Ryad says you do your first. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. It says execute a straight maneuver, but it says execute it as a Corrigan maneuver instead.
I would assume that it only refers to the K-turns on your dials.
So we could still have so not only do we have Vessery looking at this being like, all right, I get my locks really well with this for my shots, but Ryad might be the only elite that could do those K-turns still, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, but they would just be white instead of blue.
Correct, as it normally says on her ability.
Now, Will, you had some stuff to say. I know that I saw you were ready to pounce on this a little bit.
No worries. I'm ready. You got new cards. You got me talking. I think it was. I just wanted to point out Vessery's ability. Kind of tie back in what I was saying with Volt as well. That you're gonna almost. Vessery says, while you perform an attack against a locked ship, after you roll attack dice, you may acquire a lock in the defender. So that could be while Vessery is doing a missile or cannon. Less likely to do it on a missile because he won't have the lock, but on a cannon, he could get the lock, use fire control system. Then you don't even spend the lock like you do on the B-Wings. You just have to have the lock. So you can even fire control system after that as well, or on the second attack. And that's kind of going back to what I was saying with Volt, is that Volt's going to want those passive sensors to know where he wants to shoot, full board knowledge. And then, or excuse me, I said it wrong. He wants his ability to make sure that lock goes on the very specific target he's trying to shoot. And then he can even still have fire control system for the rerolls.
Okay.
I don't know. I think even if you are bringing tracer rounds, though, you still got to, at some point, bring a cannon. Because you don't want to lose all this stuff just for 2 tracer missile shots. And I definitely think like tractor beam, that's what was normally run on the TIE Ds in the past. As you just tractor beam somebody closer to you, and then you shoot them with the primary.
Right.
Yeah, that's 6 points. Basically a tracer and a tractor.
Yeah.
8 if you want to throw fire control system on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're already at 80-point ship, so why not?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I'm still nervous about the giving up the free evades, though. Whew. That's gonna be interesting.
Just be out of arc, right? That's what those people say. Just don't get shot, man. Just don't get shot. It's fine.
It will definitely feel like a totally different ship without the free evade and the 4 white K. Totally different ship.
100%. 100%. Just position better. Now, let's go a little bit down the rabbit hole. I forgot who was it in the chat that said it. Was it Vigilante DJ? Yes, Vigilante DJ said, whoa, wait a second. Why does it say Imperial TIE Defender standardized? Does that possibly mean that we get a Defender in another faction at some point?
Yeah, put your tinfoil hats on, of course.
Yeah, I guess technically it's future proofing, but okay.
I think it might have been, this is a throwback. Do you remember the TIE Aggressor debacle about the IG 2000 title? People were trying to put IG 2000 titles on their TIE Aggressors.
Yes, I do.
Because there it says Aggressor. Yeah, no. Just skipping all that.
Yep. Yeah, and here is a possibility. You want tinfoil hat, Will? I'm gonna go full tinfoil hat right now. Okay, watch out, watch out. Here we go. Okay, so we've always talked about, you know, that right now when we only had 3 factions in the game, we talked about, man, wouldn't it be crazy if there was more than 3 factions in the game? And then now we're at 7. Okay. What if there is a point where, you know, we get, you know, an even more expanded universe right now, and we get maybe like, because right now, the developing in the Star Wars book world, in the Thrawn series, is kind of this potential pocket of Thrawn being like doing stuff outside of the Empire that's happening around the same time after the end of the Return of the Jedi. So the TIE Defender was his idea. What if we get the Chiss Ascendancy as a faction at some point, and we get the Chiss Defender? You know, crazy, I know, but again, full tinfoil hat, Reynolds wrapped all the way around. All right, back to Earth. Let's go take a look. When we talked about pilots in this section here, they also gave us a specific number of pilots. It says you will find 5 TIE Defender pilot ship cards in here. So we're thinking, what is it? It's Onyx, Delta, Volscaris. And we know that there are 3 other named ones, right? So that means that there's going to be 2 others that we haven't talked about, right? Potentially?
Sounds about right.
Okay. Vader, huh? Huh? You want it?
Get him out. No. Stop it.
Do it.
They better
Vader,
put Merrick Steele in
Vader
there.
requirement, epic only.
Epic only. He gets a big fat commander symbol right on the card. That's all it is. Like,
Commander Vader only. Get out.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Now we did get another card here. We got a configuration when they're talking about the Imperial box here, and it says sensitive controls. What's sensitive controls, Will?
All right, sensitive controls is a configuration for ships with auto thrusters, and it is also standardized. It says replace your auto thrusters ship ability with the following: sensitive controls. During the system phase, you may perform a red barrel roll or red boost action. The ships with auto thrusters are both the TIE LN and the Interceptor, not the regular TIE fighter. The Interceptor, like Syndulla here, see it on the screen. Auto thrusters. After you perform an action, you may perform a red barrel roll or boost action. Also, the TIE Silencers have the exact same ability called auto thrusters. So it's replacing that double reposition for the ADA style repositioning in the system phase. I guess BB-8 is the OG repositioner. Is that right?
Yeah.
In the little pod. He's ahead of his time. That's super interesting to me. I don't know if I would put it on high initiative ships because I think that boost and then barrel roll is very powerful.
Hey, Will, Blackout. Actually, you could play with his ability.
That's true. They don't have advanced sensors, so that would be pretty useful for him. Come up, hide behind a rock, red barrel roll, fly right past it. Like, I definitely think that there's some uses. Definitely like the alphas and the Synars, who are already moving first anyways. So why not be repositioning beforehand? Plus, I think this is actually secretly might be better on the silencer because they have better blues. But we could see some interesting abilities that could combine with this as well. I could only imagine. We were already talking about Sienna Ree last time doing weird barrel rolls and stuff. So this is interesting. I just don't know if it's better. Is this a lateral move? Worse? Better? I don't know.
Well, I think it's similar. It's the same debate as when we were talking about the vectored cannons. It gives the lower initiatives ships that we don't see another, like, hey guys, can you try this and see if maybe you're good? That's the way I look at it. It's like it gives us another road for ships that we don't see anyway. And if we still don't see the Alpha, the Saber, I don't know, is the Saber even in 2.0? I feel like I just pulled that. I had a first edition moment.
Yeah, Saber.
Yeah, okay, Saber.
4.
Like these ships that we just don't even see out there gives them a chance to do something with your life, okay, and see what we can get. I'm just it gives you a little bit of play, maybe against. Oh, here we go. All right, in the Initiative 1 wars, okay, because there are Initiative 1 wars. When you lose an initiative bid and you want to block another Initiative 1 and you can't, this gives you the option to do it. I know that's a little bit niche. You got an options there.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something better for the lower initiative ships because you have that early reposition. You could end up unstressed, do the same set of combinations that you want to. The one thing is it is one of these standardized upgrades. You can't do it on some of them. You have to do it on all of them. We know how powerful. To me, the more apt comparison is fine-tuned controls on the Aether sprites and intuitive controls on the ETAs, and we see the drastic difference between the two and how they can play. Obviously, this auto thrusters versus sensitive controls comparison, auto thrusters is much easier to play with. Sensitive controls requires more setup and more of a knowledge on how you can maximize that if you want to do it, or how to fake it out when you don't need to do it, when your opponent has to try and compensate for thinking about that. It's a situation where it can make your opponent overthink too much and they can just choose a wrong decision and you might not even actually do the ability at all. It's weird to me to think this, but if you compare an I-1 TIE Interceptor, an Alpha, as it is right now at 31 points, if you had to change its ability to sensitive controls and it still be 31 points, is there a clear winner?
For me, yes.
Explain why, Marcel.
All right,
I'm curious if this should even cost points and if it even could be negative.
Well, I was going to argue towards a negative because taking the silencers not as much, but taking this as an example, one of them you talked about like I-1 against I-1, then you can block them because you don't want them to block you, but also. The ships that can't take this get double repositioned anyway, so those I-1s now become Sunterfells out there because they're flying, they're repositioning, and you just play the game differently. But the other thing, as far as just the ability this on an I-1 against, let's say, higher initiative ships, it's easier for you to get the block by, let's say you want to get the block. It's better to just shoot 5 forward, boost, focus, than it is to boost and then do, what's their fastest one? 4? 4 is the blue, right?
For a TIE interceptor, it's 4. For a silencer, it's 5.
Yeah, and then it's boost and then do a 4, but also it changes the trajectory a lot. So this one changes the trajectory of that a lot more, because when you're starting at this angle, you're gonna shoot 3, boost. I mean, those are more predictable than doing a boost 2 barrel. I mean, so if that makes sense, like boosting before moving changes your end positioning way more than it is to boost after. So, but to your point, or to Will's point, I forgot who said it. It's harder to plan around that, because that's not as we're not used to that. That's not, it takes a lot more practice. It's like when people were playing old school Miranda, dropping Miranda. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was good, but you had to learn the distances of where those advanced lamps would take you. And it takes some practice to know, like, oh, if I do it too hard to slam to the left, this is essentially where I'm going to end up. So I think there might be something to that. But I still think just going with the regular old take an action and then either barrel or boost is better.
Now, Dion, I heard you scream negative after I even suggested it, so I got to ask you the same thing. If you had a TIE interceptor with this ability and the base ability cost the same points, which one are you taking?
You're right. I take my outrage back. I take it back.
The problem is it's standardized, so it compounds the cost if you take more of it. And if you're talking about silencers, man, it's hard in First Order at all to take any silencer not named Kylo in the first place, right, let alone any more beyond that point. So even then, Kylo just straight, I think, gets worse.
What if potentially, because I think the lower initiative this is on, maybe besides Blackout, the better it is. Or at least maybe we value the double reposition of auto thrusters at higher initiative. That's better statement of what I'm looking at. We value that more. So adding in sensitive controls, we feel like we are losing something. So in that case, I could argue that definitely that you could argue for a minus a negative point cost. What if we have it scaling? Higher initiative, you put like 6, 5, 4, 3, and maybe 6 and 5, it's a minus a certain amount of cost, and then it becomes a higher cost as you get to lower initiative. And the only reason I'm thinking about it at that point is you got to be careful with lowering the cost of generics too low because of spamming.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's why, I was really hesitant when I said the word negative costs. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm thinking this, but even at 0 points, I don't know how often I'm taking this versus what auto thrusters already does.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see what it is. But I mean, just like everything, right? We have the ability to change the points, or not we, but. I mean, we kind of do, right? We just complain loud enough, and AMG and FFG will listen. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Will 1 point? You think?
Yeah. After all that discussion, I think it's come down to I think I would buy it for 1 point, hands down, every time. I would pay 32 points for that interceptor every single time. The barrel out, hard back in. Is just too good to pass up. You're like a tiny phantom. Well,
That is true. Having a bunch of tiny phantoms meaning your ability to surround is very good.
yeah, play a couple. What are they? Supernatural Inquisitors for a bit, and I think you can. And I mean, same thing with Adas, right? Like barrel out, hard one back in, or hard two back in, whatever the case may be. Like I've come around. I think it does have value. I think it is good, but you have to be better at the game to realize it. I guess.
Got him. Got him.
Like we talked about, it's very much Aether Sprite versus Ada. You can there's a higher floor with auto thrusters and fine-tuned controls, but potentially on high level play, there's the ceiling is up there potentially for these system phase maneuvers, just because of the anti-blocking mechanisms you can set up. Moving around the asteroids even better.
Yeah, love it. So, I mean, lots of cool stuff coming there for the Empire. Obviously, looks like we are getting 10 different TIE Interceptor cards and 5 different TIE Defenders. We'll see what we get. I think somebody had mentioned that there is somewhere a picture of a Volk Scaris Interceptor base plate out there. Maybe. Do we think? Okay, let's go back here. If Volk Scaris is in an interceptor, does that have more value because of auto thrusters? If it's on an interceptor, if he has the same ability.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, because you wouldn't be able to take your action when you engage because you already did a linked action. So you.
Yeah. Vault might want the sensitive controls so you can reposition and then do a blue and then get rid of his stress.
Yeah, or you set up once every other turn a situation where you could double reposition in the engagement phase. Maybe.
But you can't double reposition. Oh, well, he would have to keep auto thrusters though. To double
Yeah,
reposition.
I'm saying. I'm sorry. I just kind of switched. I was thinking about the number of pilots. That's a lot of pilots in the interceptors, and I rolled back here.
That's does he want to double reposition? Is that always good? Who knows? Who's to say? I think it just comes like as we've been saying, Ada versus Aether Sprite, and it's just a playstyle choice. How do you fly?
Badly. Next.
I don't know. Did you see that Anakin? Oof. Not great on Wednesday.
All right, let's get into some of the scum and villainy. We know we got a lot of scum lovers out there. All right, we got this talent card, scum only, cutthroat. What do we got, Will?
All right. So this is cutthroat. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is destroyed, if that ship is limited or has the cutthroat upgrade, you may remove one of your orange or red tokens or recover one non-recurring charge on your ship card or one of your equipped upgrade cards. So condense that down. When someone around you who is limited or cutthroat dies, you can get a benefit to remove a bad token or get a charge. Which turns out Scum has a lot of non-recurring charges. Pretty much all the good illicits have charges. I'm trying to think of any pilots that have charges other than Moralo of all.
You know what this reminds me of?
Yes.
Right here.
Well, I saw it. Scavenger crate. Put it back on screen. No, I saw it. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Right.
Just
Scavenger crate is an old first edition card that had something similar. When a ship by you blew up, you got you can get some cards back or something like that. But it reminds me of that. But they definitely shrunk it down. They're like, wait, whoa. Scavenger crane was really good. Friendly ships only.
I think we got a timeout. Timeout here.
What?
Isophane found it. Isophane, the Tel Tavera upgrade card.
All right,
You gotta
well,
get.
but before people go too crazy on that, everyone's yelling, Tel Tavera Cutthroat, Tel Tavera Cutthroat. Hold your horses, everybody. Cutthroat says after another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is destroyed. So Tel just being destroyed does not work on herself. So other people need to die for Tel's charge to come back. So I don't know about you, but if Tel comes back, depending on the position of the board, there might be it could work, but you can't tell me how often I'm just going to turn at that Tel and just finish him off anyway.
Yeah, but you
Cool.
get to
All
put
my
Tel
other-
anywhere across the bottom of the board. I mean, you get to choose where Tel's going to start off.
Well, your own board edge. Your
Your
original
own board edge, yeah. But what I'm saying is you get to start, and if you have a hull upgrade, you've got 2 hull to play with, and that kind of allows you to play a little bit more aggressively with the remainder of your ships that are going in there and saying, you know what, let's go full violence. I'm going to get here in front of your range 1 and shoot you. You can kill me, and now Teltra just gained another life.
Somebody saying use the wrecked droid. You kill a friend, be like, all right, my charge is back. I mean, it doesn't give you back your health, right? You're still gonna be down on health, but it's hilarious. Do it for the lulz, please. Somebody come on stream and do it.
Tel's just out there killing ships to give her R5 droid more charges. Just trying to heal back up to full hull.
There you go.
That's scummy. It's so scummy. I love this card. Someone had posted a great list of all the other people that have charges. Not Dengar. Dengar's is recurring. Seavor's is also recurring. The other one would be
Moralo Evol.
Moralo Eval. Someone said Joy Rickoff, but that's technically just their torpedoes that you can recover. I don't know if they can be Cutthroat though. Oh, she's got talent.
You know what?
Talents, right?
Some other non-recurring charges would that include the bombs that you can't reload?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yeah, because it's not a reload; it's a charge.
No.
All right.
Yes and no. Hold on. Yes.
It's
yes.
not a reload.
Marcel, all right, so here's
Hold
the
on,
way
hold
to
on.
the mines. The mines say, I looked at this earlier, trust me. I was like, are we going to be in Scum Bomb bad times? No, it doesn't work that way. So when these cards say the Connor nets, cluster mines, proximity mines, this card's charge cannot be recovered. It doesn't say can't be reloaded. Cannot be recovered.
Oh, it says recovered.
And cannot
Okay.
Cannot's a big word. Overwrites almost everything.
There you go. I wasn't sure if the word was recovered or reloaded.
No, but what you can do though is you can put this on Skurg bombers, and they could get bombs back where they would normally not be able to reload them with the reload action.
Like thermal detonators, seismic charges, those types.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, all your bombs. I'm trying to think of. There's no crew that have non-recurring charges. I think that's the big ones. The non-recurring.
R5P8 Astromech only has 3 charges normally. They don't recur. That is the reroll droid.
The reroll droid. Yeah, that's very true.
What
about Zam?
There you go. Zam's one. You want to
Zam
shoot my other ship? My Zam crew will still get charged back.
Yeah, whatever you do, I'm gonna get a charge. So just let it happen.
People yell in the chat for Gonk. Yes, technically Gonk doesn't have a reoccurring charge.
Ooh, I got a good one for you. Victor Hell's stealth device.
Yeah, stealth device could be recovered with this.
This is literally just all the scavenger crane tricks. Again.
Collision detector on a Viper. If you put Virago on Guri, per se. Bring cargo chute. I think, personally, the big one, we see it a lot right now, but normally we only have to worry about it once. False transponder codes.
There it is.
Now here's the question. This is really the real question. If my team of, let's say, 6 cutthroats have all 6 of them have used a charge that doesn't recur, and 1 cutthroat dies, does this trigger each cutthroat or just 1?
After another friendly ship,
I would think
it would
trigger
each.
I would think
Yeah.
each cutthroat has the opportunity to trigger off the 1 death. Yeah.
Each one
Yeah,
that has
that's-
it equipped.
Good.
Good.
That's
Period.
pretty good. It's not wrong.
Depends on the cost of cutthroat and how much that multiplies for how many ships you're putting it on. But yeah,
You got to think it's 1 or 2. You can't go above 2 on this. 1, maybe 2.
I don't know. I'd pay
It's
1
pretty
more
good.
point for false transponder to come back after a friendly ship dies pretty quickly.
Crack shot as well. It's another possibility.
Unless we get Scum with double talent, then that would be a no.
I mean, crack.
could you
Oh, you're right. You're right.
You could recharge Jabba with this as well and just have infinite things.
Recharge up, like how have you not run? How have you like you shouldn't run out at that point?
Yeah, jeez.
The only point of your list is just trying to use Jabba. I like it. Oh man, that seems. We'll see how it works. We saw a lot of shenanigans in first edition with Scavenger Crane. There's a few. The limitation that they changed here is that it is now only friendly ships, but they did extend the range. So we'll see, because essentially it's all the same stuff. This is that exact same card, ish. Now here is some more tinfoil hatness. Okay. In this picture, we have a pretty prominent Star Wars character who we have not seen in a ship in X-Wing 2nd edition or 1st edition for that matter, and that is Cad Bane. Cad Bane pilot coming soon, confirmed. Cad Bane in the box?
I mean, I would assume Cad Bane's ship would come at some point in the future that could be both a Separatist and a Scum ship.
I could see it. I mean, because they made Django. Django kind of worked that same way, right? He was on both sides.
Kind of, but not with his pilot, though. I think Cad Bane's ship was the rogue class fighter. Has stealth technology.
Oh, watch out.
Cloaking in the Separatists. Hey, we go.
Cloaking device, it's illicit. They already have that.
I said in the Separatist.
Oh, and Separatists. All right, fair enough.
I mean, sure.
They also have cloaking device.
I'm sorry, we already have cloaking in Separatist. It's just on a dead ship called the Infiltrator.
Oh,
sad
man.
infiltrator
Put
sounds.
Scimitar title in the trash can.
Our title good. Infiltrator ship bad.
Oh man. Okay. All right. After we throw this so much shade at that, yeah, we'll see. But Cad Bane, there is a Cad Bane crew, just nobody ever uses it.
Now wait, Dion, you said there's two things in that image, right? Does that look like one legend ship called the Lady Luck?
Oh, sure is. Oh, you're right.
I mean, that's probably a little more on the epic side of things, but that's like one Lady Luck there.
Or is it somebody saying it's an HHA-47 Starhopper?
Could be. It has the front look of what people have called the Skip Ray Blast Boat.
Let's see. This is what people are saying it is. This one right here. And I see that. The Starhopper. HH-87 Starhopper. Confirmed. I think that's what that is.
I like it now, yeah.
Yep. Good call out. Imperial Ace 95. I like it. All right. Well, maybe we're gonna get one of those soon too. Okay. Well, let's keep it rolling here. we got another talent, Y-wing only. What do we got here, Ryan?
We got the Tierfon Belly Run. This is a talent only for the Y-wing, but it's any Y-wing at this point. You can perform special attacks even while at range 0 of asteroids, not debris, not gas clouds, so it's just asteroids. And while you defend, if you are at range 0 of an obstacle in general, though, this one's any obstacle, attack dice cannot be re-rolled.
Anti-Boba Tech. Inside of Y-wing. Inside of its own faction.
Anti-lock. I mean...
That's true.
Not re-roll pretty bad.
Hmm.
And again, that second clause is any obstacle. So, basically it's saying you can always perform special attacks on any obstacle in this game, because now it says you can do it on asteroids, which normally disallows you to use to shoot at all. Mm-hmm. But you can do special attacks on asteroids. You can always attack on debris and gas clouds. But now, when on any obstacle, the attack dice cannot be re-rolled while you are defending.
Okay. And
I think this is good. Good, not great. I think this is just if you want to keep your formation in place, you want to keep, you're flying and you want to. I think it's good. It's not great because when you land on, you're still losing your action. You're still rolling for damage. So I mean, there's nice things to it, but this is more of I want my Y-wing to do a certain thing, and I want it to be in a certain place, and I don't want the asteroids to get in the way of that.
It's not standardized.
I think it's more of my Y-wing or Y-wings. I think it's more of a safety net than it is something that you're going to use strategically. Like I will strategically place myself on this rock on purpose.
I think we're gonna get some crazy, unique Y-wing that like takes like trick shot, asteroids, wants it. There's got to be something in there that synergizes with this. There has to be.
Maybe, but I mean, you're still giving up your action because you overlapped, and you're still rolling for damage. So if you can line up and just dance around the rock instead, and get the trick shot, you're good. This is just like, oops, this rock is where I want to be. Oh well, I'm gonna be on it, type of thing. For me, that's the way I see it. But you never know because you also don't know if there's a pilot that's coming out that actually says ignore rocks or something like that.
That's true. Hey, people are saying no talent. Listen, these are pilots we don't even know. But what if it has 2 pilot slots? Hey, don't 2 talent slots. Don't limit my tin hat. Okay, we can go crazy here. We're in that space between reality and fiction. Okay.
Yeah. How do you know it's not like I don't know, one of the A-wings stuck into a Y-wing?
That's right.
And gave it a second elite pilot.
Alrighty. So we'll see what we end up getting there. I'm curious. Mostly, like, I don't see a Rebel Y-wing that's like, oh my god, I love this. But I think that maybe we might get something in the Scum box where there's a Y-wing pilot that ends up doing something really cool with it. Some synergy there.
Horton might not be too bad if Horton needs to get to range 1 or has friends at range 1 of something. It gets too crowded. He could go on a rock and he still has rerolls for each friendly ship at range 1, so he could still have a modification at least. Mm-hmm. That's the only one that really pops up. I mean,
isn't there a resistance one that also gets rerolls?
Matchstick.
Yeah.
But not resistance, Republic.
Yeah.
Broadside normally really wants his focus, so that really doesn't pan out too well. If you want to make sure Nora gets to range 1 and I don't want to have to care about obstacles, you can put it on her.
Well, question. I have to ask the question. Let me. I might hold on. Let me not ask it before I just double check. Let me check myself before I wreck myself. I might end up answering my own question. Give me 1 second. One moment. I'm just I'm looking up something here real quick. Okay, so this would also work on the Republic Y-wings, right? Because
Yeah,
it's just all right. I'm
pretty sure they have the classification of just being a Y-wing,
Just
similar
Y-wing.
to A-wing with a starboard slash.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to double check. I was looking. I was like, wait, it's listed BTLA 4 Y-wing, BTLA B Y-wing. They have different designations, but they're all Y-wing. So that's any Y-wings out there. Okay. Great. And one thing that is also mentioned in the article for any of our Rebel players or Republic players, I mean, I guess not so much for the Republic players, but at least for Rebel players, this card is coming in the Rebel pack as well. So if you wanted to experiment with it a little bit, go to your heart's content. It's in there. Will it be good? I don't know, but maybe. You can try. That's what you get to try, which is more important.
If you think Oddball can only land his 4K on an obstacle to get his bullseye for a target lock, this lets you do it.
That's right. This is what fixes Oddball. Alrighty. Next one. We got one of those Y-Wing pilots here. Initiative 3, Patrick, the Napkin Bomber. After a friendly device that you have locked detonates, each enemy ship at range 0 to 1 of that device gains 1 strain token. So we got quite a bit of things inside this ability. The first time we have an ability that uses locking a device here, okay? That's really cool. Giving some type of splash damage there. I really like that. I really like that. Are there any other abilities that take locking a non-ship object in the game, or is this the first one?
True.
Say it again.
Kira locks obstacles. And
yeah,
then you
you're
can
right.
Ignore them. M9G8, you can lock your friendlies to give them rerolls.
Mm-hmm. That's another ship, though. That's another ship. So it'd be Kira.
Yeah,
Kira and this guy. Kira and this guy. Alrighty.
Yeah. So on our me to it. You have access to R3, and you could have a ship. You could just bring your own thermals. Just double lock both your thermals, and it is going to be a mess behind you. This is also a faction that has Nim, who can freeze bombs. So you just let that bomb hang out there. Does it work on? It says device, so which means it could be a mine.
Yes.
It would not only hit the person who touched the mine, but everybody around the mine as well. And it's only enemy ships.
Yeah.
Right next to your own bomb, like at least your own. Right.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Sorry, I had to read detonates because I thought for a second, like, wait a minute, how does this trigger? Because, like, if you put a mine out there, and if every turn, as long as no one hits it, it's just sitting there, just strain. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
I have more area now? What is happening here? Like, wait a minute. Okay, it has to detonate. Okay, we're good.
So here's funny stuff. In front of him, Patrick moves before Zubio and locks it. Zubio hits the bomb, and that hurt around him.
Oh, we're losing. You're breaking up on us. Somebody's jamming your will.
I'm getting jammed.
You're getting
My transmission. My jam. Zubio.
Okay.
That was Zubio. You can run over your own bomb, which would be funny to strain people.
Love it. And the Napkin Bomber, this is in reference to you saw the this happened in the book Bloodline. Yeah, look it up. Napkin bombing, pretty cool stuff. happened in the transition between the New Republic and the formation of the First Order. It's really, really cool. It happens in Bloodline by Claudia Gray. Fantastic. All right, and that's a pretty to the point pilot, and of course we did talk about Kanan last week. Kanan Jarrus in the Hawk. Now, if we go and just take a peek at the end of this article, it also tells us about we're going to get 9 Y-wing pilots, 4 secret condition cards to bring you plenty of options when assembling your crew. What are we? What is 4 secret condition cards? What is this? This is more Zam shenanigans or Zam-like shenanigans?
Sounds like Zam.
It's gotta, because it says secret specifically, so more trap cards.
Watch out.
More traps.
So, I mean, this says 4 secret conditions. People are like, oh, Zam. Zam's only got 2. Unless we get more for Zam.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's 2 Zam-like cards or if it's 1 out of 4. Like you get to pick 4 different choices, or it's 2.
Oh, like 1 condition, but it's just 4 cards for just one.
So is it 2 conditions that have 2 cards, or is it 1 condition that has 4 cards? That'll be interesting.
Or 2 conditions where one has 1 card and the other has 3. However, you get to 4.
How do you get secret out of 1 though?
Who knows?
I know. So people are saying Zam has 4 in the box. I'm aware that she has 4 in the box. That
She
would
has
be
4 in the box because there's got to be a set for her pilot and a set for her crew. That's the
right,
only
but that'd
reason.
be super
Well, that
lame.
could be this year too. Yeah.
That would be super. I would say I would send FFG an angry tweet. Okay, angry tweet level of like, really 4 secret condition cards, and it was just another copy of Zam. Really,
You'll get a Mailer Daemon tweet did not reach its destination.
It does say 4 new Hawk ship cards.
yeah.
Specifically 4 new ones. Not that the other ones have listed an amount that we assume they'll be generics for.
Yeah, so we'll see. I know one thing that did get posted by AMG, just talking about this, that I believe in the United States that there's going to be a delay on the release date for these boxes, so do be aware of that. So for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, these will be released in March 26th on time, not in the United States, and it'll be later here. But
Man,
right now,
I wish there was a way for us to play it online right away.
I mean, I wish there was an event happening, like the day after that he would just make a call. It's completely dependent on when the points come, okay? For any
I was
of you
going to say,
playing the
I wonder
Ace
if they're going to
Championship.
release the points based on the U.S. release date or the rest of the world release date.
Yeah, I mean, come on, AMG, make it March 25th. Drop those points on the 25th, and everything's fine. Okay. Alrighty. Well, or you know what? AMG does. They do streams. They've been doing streams on Wednesdays and Fridays. Is that what they've been doing?
Star Wars on Wednesdays, I thought it was, right?
Star Wars on Wednesday. So maybe they would release it on Wednesday. That'd be a good thing for them to talk about. All right. I know we just kind of jumped to a completely different discussion, but all right. Now, that is the new article there. They will be linked in the description of our video here. Super excited to see these packs go out into the wild here in the next few weeks. It should be awesome. I'm excited. I am very excited. Now, Ryan, I'm going to let you kind of introduce this next segment. I know that we're running a little bit late, but I want to touch on it because this weekend is the Sigma qualifier, our first hyperspace event in the Flight Club Championship Series. As I pull up some of the data you gave me, go ahead and give us a little bit of an intro on some of the research you did.
Yeah, so basically I wanted to look at what is being ran successfully in the cut or high-end Swiss at the past 2 Gold Squadron events. online and see what can transition over into hyperspace. What trends do we see? What things that are already working for people in extended that are in hyperspace can go across and use? Because to be honest, if I was someone who just got done playing into the cut in these GSP events and most of my squad worked in hyperspace, I'd probably just take it into hyperspace, just make it easy on yourself. So I went Dione teacher mode and went into List Fortress and took a red pen and a blue pen, and I crossed off everything that was extended, some entire lists, big X, and some where I just crossed off some upgrades, and very few that were actually completely legal hyperspace list. I did a big circle, a good blue pen circle. So I gave Dione those images to help. He'll probably run through them as I talk about it, but in general, let's see which one you got up there first. I think this is Alpha first we're looking at.
Yeah. Well, let me know where you want to go first. Do you want to go?
Yeah, just start going in order, because I think I started with Alpha. I think I worded it correctly where it should generally be in order between Alpha and Delta, and I'll get to the extra stuff later.
Here's Alpha top 16.
Or just start with the top 8. I went in order.
Got it. Alpha top 8.
Yeah, I'll start with the high end and then go low. I mean, basically, there's going to be a whole lot of red. People went extended hard. As we can see, there's quite a few lists here that are crossed off almost completely. One thing that we're going to notice is a big trend already is that Django Zam predominantly is hyperspace legal. There's very few things within those lists that need to be taken out or swapped through. So I would expect for the amount we saw Django Zam in the extended events, we should see a solid amount of them going forward. The hyperspace events just slightly tweaked. A couple pieces that also make it through. If we go to, let's see, what's in our top 16? Because a lot of, when people like playing Scum, they like playing as a lot of extended Scum that I've noticed, besides potentially the Sikhs. Couple things already within here. So we got a few things that are already hyperspace legal 100%. We have a first order list from Dale, who ran Kylo with Extreme Maneuvers, Blackout with Fanatical, and Gideon with Ancient Terex. And then we had Octocon using a Scum Swarm, utilizing a mix of Mining Guild ties and Sikhs. I would also assume Sikh swarms of some moderation, whether it's 7 ships or 6, which includes Sarasu, or 4 and generic fangs are not in hyperspace, so that won't fit old Octocon's version. But some mix of 6 to 7 ship swarm, potentially 8 if you mix in the Mining Guild ties with Scum. That as we've seen is done well within the extended events, and will likely do well in hyperspace as well. If we move into the next Alpha top 17 to 24, because it wouldn't fit all the way to 32 with just the screen there. We can see that Alex Smittle bringing a completely hyperspace legal list. That is that 7-ship mixed arms Sikh swarm. A lot of entire lists crossed off.
You get jamming beam?
I mean, I don't count that.
Okay, fair enough. I was just double checking.
I mean, sure. So jamming beam is not hyperspace legal, but I mean, he could have not brought it, would have been the same list. And then we have, let's see, I think a kind of close Scum one, just have to mix with the upgrades a bit. You got L3 in the Escape Craft, Dengar, and Bosk. There were a solid amount of points invested because you had Maul Crew on Dengar. You had Swarm Tactics, which may have been a large part of the strategy. Perceptive Co-Pilot Lando. So shift some upgrades around, but you could still use the pilots. And then from 25 to 32 in Alpha, we have, let's see, we have some Separatists where most of the pilots were all legal. This is where we had Christopher, who took the accidental trajectory simulator. He handicapped himself, but ended up doing really well anyway. So we see that those base pilots themselves still have very good usage. Just mix around some of the upgrades. You could still have something there. We had a mix of the Seeks and Z95s from Stephen Parker with those torpedoes. The only torpedo not working there being the plasmas, but ion torpedoes still pretty good, and you don't really need munitions failsafe anyway. Josh, who utilized a 3-ship, a ZAM +2, which I had talked about people experimenting more with ZAM without Django. ZAM just needs to dump the Lone Wolf, and the Onderon Oppressor just discords and clusters, and yeah, you could still have something there. And another Django ZAM showing up from Michael Turner. And then on to Delta. We have Marcel Manzano himself taking predominantly a hyperspace legal list. He just needs to chuck out the marksmanship.
No,
So,
that list sucks. Just skip.
Marcel, why don't you talk about why, or what, do you have any ideas, general early thoughts, what you would do to make this hyperspace? Would you just chuck out the marksmanship and call it good, or would you shift some points around?
I would fly something different.
He's lying. He's sandbagging so that.
Yeah, he's probably going to fly this or something.
I mean, what do? You either take the bid or what are
Yeah,
some...
you either go with bid or you throw some probably like fire control system on those tracers to get more use out of them. I don't know. You could throw some fire control systems. There's really not a whole lot you can do. The Predators don't do anything because secondary weapons don't take advantage of Predator. You can bump one of those Baron of the Empire to a what is it? The Inquisitor, to just guarantee that you got that. You can do that. It's kind of a lazy way, but
I kind of like your thought on the FCS on the 2 thread tracers, because those 2 dice are more likely going to not spend the lock completely.
yeah, and that's the thing. Once you get rid of the proton rockets, or even if you're not in bullseye and you're shooting with 2 dice, you're more than half of the time you're only re-rolling 1 out of the 2 dice anyway with a target lock. So just throw some fire control systems on whichever you want, and the only ones that are probably spend the full lock are the ones that have the bullseye. Mm-hmm. But the ones that don't, you're more than likely only spending 1 die to re-roll 1 die. I mean, you're only re-rolling 1 die, so that you don't have to rely on landing a threat tracer later on to get the bullseye, so you can keep the lock on there. So when you do get the bullseye, you have the full modded shot. So that's probably what I would do. I'd probably go with fire control system, Will's favorite upgrade.
Yeah. And so besides that, just some extra cartel spacers in the eventual winner Jan's list or Jan's list. Just can't have the Torko Mux, obviously, and got to swap out those auto blasters for something else. And a lot of everything else down the way, a lot of things X'd out except Nabi, who can repurpose some upgrades around in his resistance list. Just got to get rid of heroic, the cluster missiles, and advanced optics and intimidation. Work a few things around, maybe give Poe a little bit better punch with like a torpedo of some type, or prockets. Make everything punch really hard with a big alpha strike. So some resistance potential there for sure. And then moving on from there to the top 16 range, we see another completely hyperspace legal list. And again, another trend we're seeing here actually is the TAPs being the TIE advanced prototypes, or the V1s, being consistently good across the board through extended and hyperspace. We got Inquisitors, all with Foresight. I didn't think this was originally hyperspace legal, but I assumed Foresight was
right
extended only. But I realized, like, wait a minute, Foresight's also in hyperspace. So this one also works here from Sammy. Unfortunately, had to cross off all those Epsilon Squadron cadets. It's a little sad face there, because I personally feel First Order is in a really sad place in hyperspace when they can't have their cadet fillers, but that's my own personal bias. A lot of other things X out here. Again, though, we're seeing a lot of Django ZAM being able to just take out and swap out just a few upgrades and make it work for hyperspace. And then from there, We have top 17 through 26. More Django Zam. We do have Rick, who brought a Republic list, who can use that same Warthog Ghost Company 5s and 3 arcs, just has to swap those shield upgrades for something else. So now we see one of the few Republic lists, along with Clint, who all he needs to do is swap those R5s, those regen droids, which could still be extremely helpful in his list already. Just how can he work around that and adapt it into hyperspace? So seeing our first signs of Republic potential life in hyperspace there. And then finally, the last bit of Delta, another full Inquisitor plus Foresight, 5 of those, as we talked about, fully hyperspace legal. And then we got Simon using Shock T and 3 Delta 7B Jedi Knights. Just need to swap the auto blasters and marksmanship. Probably just dumping the R7A7 Astromech anyway, and just reappropriating those points for a slightly different tactic. And then Lucas actually up there as well with another Warthog and 3 arcs. Just got to swap around the droids and just switch Cody with something else. So again, with the standouts that we see, Seeks, Taps, Django Zam are the 3 main things that pop out as things that could be utilized in hyperspace and transition across. Anything else that you guys may have seen that kind of stood out, or things that you believe you'd be looking at in hyperspace to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, don't sleep on the Jedi Knights. I mean, they did win the Alpha. The 3 Jedi Knights with, they had Luminara, but you can replace Luminara with Shakti. You can add. I've been flying it with Danae, Ellerby, and a proton rocket, passive sensors, which is legal. So you get 3 initiative 3 ships. 3 of them shooting 3 dice. The other one shooting 4 dice. Don't sleep on that. Their Jedi Knights is still really good. So that's probably the one that I would say. 3 Jedi Knights. I don't think 4 Jedi Knights. 3 Jedi Knights plus 1.
Plus something else there. Yeah, man, I know that you already said it, Ryan, but there was a lot of M3As in there. A lot of M3As. Now, we got an opportunity to talk to, or Jan sent me a message. Jan was in here. He was the eventual winner of Delta, and he said that he really liked the auto blasters because it made it really simple. Right? It was a very simple list. By losing, one of the M3As with a specific tool, it didn't limit his options as much. But that the version of the M3As that we're used to seeing out there, where you got one that has tractor, one that's got ion, and you have this kind of mixed arm swarm, I think for the swarm players, that's going to be a go-to. 100%, that is going to be a go-to. And I think managing those arcs and being able to play against that will be required for anybody who is planning on playing in the hyperspace and playing well. You got to think about the M3As. You have to have a plan. If you're going to bring Django and Zam, you can't just be waltzing into the M3A swarm, because you're not going to be waltzing out at the end.
Yeah, definitely not. I guess to transition on maybe Will's thoughts, I did a little bit of extra research because the extremely large Kyber Cup event also just completed at least its Swiss round. So I wanted to take that and look at those lists in there. And I did come across one list flown by one other co-host here that was completely hyperspace, one of the only ones near the top. Will flying the Taps. You want to talk about that one, Will?
Yeah, I literally was doing what you had suggested people may do earlier, where you fly your hyperspace list in extended events just to get some practice with it. And that's basically what I did. I have fallen in love with the second edition TIE Advanced V1. Never thought I'd like it. Never thought too much of Grand. And then Grand showed me that, wow, there's just so much more to this chassis than what would normally appear. And it's not quite so. My version, which is 6 Barons and 2 Tracers, instead of the 7th Baron We got that little secret sauce in there, which is Wampa, to try to give some target locks, or not give some target locks. Basically mess with shot priority. But I played this list against the tracers and spacers, and it just wiped the floor with me because it just outgunned me. It didn't matter if I had reposition linked barrel rolls, I was getting blocked and shot with 4 dice attacks. But I do think the Barons, especially in mass, are super good. Marcel was the last time he flew a Baron other than with those Prockets, or flew a V1.
Just the one with, like, the fifth brother with homing missile and passive. I mean, that's really it. I'm not. I need to roll dice. So if I can't roll dice, then I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
fly.
true. Coming from the Proton Torpedo Wedge Luke player, coming from the Intimidation Hera player, Marcel likes big dice.
Yeah, so I mean, it just
I
makes
like
sense.
big dice, and I cannot lie. And that was not in tune at all.
Oh, you're right. No, it wasn't. I wasn't going to say anything, but if you want to insult your own singing, you can. That's fine.
No, I purpose. that one was on purpose because I know I missed it on Wednesday. So this time it was purposely.
Got it.
Out of whack.
Love it. All right.
And then I just had a couple more Kyber Cup ones that kind of stood out. A First Order one from Scout Collins, using Kylo, Backdraft, Scorch, Lieutenant Revis, and a Cadet. All you need to do is swap Backdraft out to a base Zeta SF, since you can't have Backdraft, and you can swap a Cadet to either Longshot or a Proud Muse. Very easy. Could still work really well. And then we got Rob Seibert running. There's an M3A swarm. We just need to swap some upgrades on Sarasu. And then finally, M5 with a resistance list similar to Nabi, but utilizing those prockets instead of the consistent damage or different damage from you get from ZZ and Tally. So very similar to Nabi's list, running Poe, ZZ, Tally, and Merrill. So just reappropriate some upgrades, and you're almost at a really close hyperspace list already. Remove Heroic on Poe, Intimidation off Merrill. You got 7 points left to play with.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, this weekend with Sigma, I am just really curious to see what the community ends up pulling out. There's always a surprise here or there. What am I expecting to see? Expecting to see M3 Ace. We're expecting to see Django Zam. We know that, those are the two for sure things that I've heard in your analysis, which covers that's like Scum and Separatists, rapid fire here, and anti V1s. There's the Empire. Rapid fire here. Marcel, what do you think we're going to see from Rebels? If we've got a Rebel player out there, what are they bringing?
I think you're going with Jake is definitely good. X-Wings are still good. Luke Skywalker is good against swarms. He's with his regenerating force. So I think you're going to see a little bit of beef with Jake. Just action economy. I'm talking about like Jake, Garvin, maybe a B-wing, and Luke. That type of flying in bulk. Flying in formation at kind of that initiative 4 and 5, that'll at least that's what I think will be mainly out there for the Rebels.
Okay, then Resistance. We talked a little bit. RZ2A wings. They don't have all their toys, but they got some. Now, Ryan, you had talked about First Order. They don't have the Epsilons. What would they be bringing?
I mean, you got to expect Kylo. He's the backbone of the entire faction. And then after that, it's, do you pair him up with another ace or another solid ace in like Blackout or Vonreg or Hollow? Do you go 3 ace? Do you go 2 ace and a small pocket ace? Do you go 2 ace and some support ships for like a 4-ship list? Or do you go Kylo and as many PUDs as you can make from named pilots of FO and the generics of SFs?
Okay. And then what about Republic, Will? What do you think about Republic? We saw a little bit of what I heard was Jedi Knights. I didn't hear much else. Maybe a little bit of dabble of ARC 170. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Is that you're going to see like triples or basically, people stop trying to make 3 ADAs work. It's not going to work. But we have seen success with 3 arcs, or basically 3 ships with a lot of B if you want to throw a lad in there, and then like a main ship. It used to be 3 arcs in Obi-Wan. We've seen 3 arcs in new Anakin be successful. But then on the flip side, they do have access to those 7B Jedis. And I think they're going to see a similar archetype where you're going to get 3 of those and then something else, which we had covered already. Shakti, Lap, pretty much whatever you want, which is kind of nice that they have options. But I think the main 2 are going to be Jedi Knights and the Arcs for sure.
All right. Well, we will have to wait until next Monday to find out what did end up doing well. While I cannot give the information, I will say I just took a quick peek at the lists that are put in already for Sigma. Obviously, you guys can't see them publicly. I can as the TO. There are definitely some high-level players bringing some of the stuff that we did talk about. But I think there's a few surprises we got coming in. But we'll have to wait and find out. No spoilers here from me. You won't get it. All right, guys. Well, obviously, we took up our whole time today. We didn't get to lists of the week or question of the week, but I think our discussions today were really great. We covered those new packs that are coming up, those spoilers there. Extended, how's it going to affect Hyperspace? Super excited. Sigma Flight Club qualifier happening this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, starting at, for those of you watching the stream, starts at 10 a.m. LA time. For those of you playing, 9 a.m. LA time is that player meeting. Looking forward to it. We'll see you live then. Gold Squadron out.